What do you think of when you see this light in Tears of the Kingdom? For most, you might think of some sort of spotlight or flashlight, or you might even think it resembles the bright blooms found throughout the game. However, I think I've found what this thing is truly supposed to be. Before I get into this video, however, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll give you a bit of time to hit the button, don't worry. Did you hit it? Alright, good. And if you didn't?
Shame on you.
Alright, let's get back to the video. So to begin our theory here, we need to figure out what is this light thingy. Well, to summarize, this is called a light. I know, real creative naming from Nintendo here. It is a simple Zonai device in Tears of the Kingdom which can be used to, you guessed it, emit light. The radius of it is pretty small and not that useful in most scenarios. It poses some use when in caves or in the depths, but that's about it. However, we're not here to look at the use of this light. No. We are rather going to be looking at the strange design that Nintendo chose for this bad boy. If we look closely here, we can notice a few things that pop out about the overall design. The main shape of the light is a sort of cone with support beams spanning across either side so it can sit flat on the ground. One end of the light has a golden rim that flattens off so that the device can be attached to things, and the other side has a strangely shaped half sphere and 6 fang-like prongs surrounding it. You're probably wondering, what is so crazy about this, Kurt? It's just a weirdly designed light. Who cares? Me! I care! You see, when I first saw this light, I, much like many of you, thought it sort of resembled a bright bloom. A bright bloom is a type of flower in-game which emits light. They can be thrown or attached to an arrow and shot, which makes them glow whenever they hit something. They come in 2 forms, the bright bloom and the giant bright bloom. The larger one's purpose is to simply emit more light than the regular one. But once again, we're not here to see how this thing works, but rather its design. If you take a close look at the regular bright bloom, you can see that it has a flower-like petal design across the little bulb part of it. However, the giant bright bloom is a different story. It resembles more of a fully bloomed flower and no longer has that petal design. When looking at these bright blooms, you can pretty easily see the similarity between them and the Zonai light. Both are sources of light which can be used in dark places to see better, and both have that petal-like design on them. So it's safe to assume that Nintendo based the design of the light off of the bright blooms. Problem solved, right? Right? Wrong. Because there was one thing that I still just couldn't get my mind around. What are the weird fang prong things supposed to be on the light? Looking back at the bright bloom, there are no fangs or prongs to be found anywhere. Maybe if we look at the giant bright bloom? Nope. Nothing to really be found there either. There are an array of flower petals on the giant one, but nothing resembling the fangs of the Zonai light. So I went back to the drawing board to think of what else this thing could possibly be. For hours and hours, aka like a few minutes, I thought to myself, what could the light possibly resemble? And then, distant nightmare of mine started to re-emerge. As I continued to stare into the abyss of the Zonai light, I started to see something. Or rather, someone. Bongo. This disgusting creature is a boss battle in the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Face this thing in the Shadow Temple once you've completed all of the puzzles. Its name comes from the giant bongo in which it uses to attack its foes. It is to many the most difficult boss fight in all of Ocarina of Time. Now, what on earth does this giant floating monster have to do with a literal light bulb? I'm glad you asked. What is the first thing you notice about Bongo Bongo? No, besides the hands. Yes, the red eyeball in the middle of its head. Now, let's look back at the light in Tears of the Kingdom. The half sphere looks an awful lot like an eyeball, doesn't it? However, you might be thinking, Kurt, what about the petal pattern on the light? Bongo Bongo doesn't have that. Wrong again. We look at a certain model of Bongo Bongo, we can see a bit of a weird pattern in its eye. Now, it doesn't look too much like the flowery petal pattern of the light, but it's close enough in my books. And if that's not enough for you, let's look at those pesky prongs that the light has. Bongo Bongo has these flower petal-like things surrounding its eye, which resemble the prongs on the light. And wouldn't you know it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fangs on the Zonai light and exactly 6 petals on Bongo Bongo's head. You cannot convince me that this was not on purpose. And last but not least, just to drive the nail further into the wall here, let's open up our ears and listen to the Zonai light being dropped. Sounds an awful lot like an instrument of some sorts, wouldn't you say? Perhaps a bongo? Coincidence? Yeah, probably. But I still think it's pretty cool that I noticed that. Anyways, the main point that I'm trying to make here, if you couldn't tell, is that the Tears of the Kingdom light is designed off Bongo Bongo from Ocarina of Time. But hey, that's just a theory. A game No, I'm just kidding. If you guys did enjoy this fun little video about Tears of the Kingdom, then consider leaving a like and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Also, maybe check out my Tears of the Kingdom series I've been doing here on YouTube. We're at almost episode 50 now, and we've been going on tons of fun adventures and side quests and all sorts of fun things, so go check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, that's all I really got for you today, so I'll see you on the next one. Peace.